up YouTube? John without the H here, filming with my cameraman Tony. You can find him on YouTube on ViperPilot04. Today we are recording the finally recording the Viper versus Viper 90 versus 70. You might have seen that little short that I put up where this plane lost a wheel on takeoff and then got caught by the grass over there. That's not going to happen today. We already fixed it, already got it set up, already made sure it would fly this time, so it's good to go. We're going to be flying this on a Z5200 50C pack. Some of you guys were questioning whether or not I actually fly on 6 cells at all. One battery. This is on the F-22 vid, so it doesn't really apply here, but the F-22 is using the same motor and ESC combo that this jet has. So this jet can do it, the F-22 can as well. We're going to open up with some moderate to light aerobatics, and then we're going to get this jet up in the air. Tony pans over to the jet. He's going to take some steps back. We're going to use my hat cam footage in conjunction with his shooting, and then we're going to have some fun. Okay, we're back. So, you know, you may have heard some dropped off audio there for a second. That's okay. I got flaps on a switch, deflected ailerons crow. I did some minor changes. I also gave the rudder servo a brand new overhaul since I had to do some fixing to the horizontal stab, so I figured why not. Let's get her up and show you guys the comparison between these two jets. All you got to use is half throttle to get up, guys. That's all you need. Take it right into knife edge. So one of the big things about this jet that's different from the 70 is that it's heavier. It's got a bigger wingspan. It's got way more maneuvering authority. And it just has a much nicer presence in the sky. I love it personally. It does, like any Viper airframe that I've flown, stall kind of rapidly and violently at times. But it's not something you can't easily take care of and manage. The crow flap setting that I've set up on this thing makes this thing land like a breeze. Let's go ahead and show what that looks like. We're going to drop the gear, do a quick touch and go. That puts us into our low rates. I've changed up the stabilization system on this, so it's no longer connected to my gear. It's actually connected to my flap settings. When my flaps come out, my plane is in a higher level of stabilization for landing mode, which makes way more sense than the way I had it before. Trying to be gentle to those gear. Get the gear up. I mean, it lands like a dream. The Viper 70 doesn't land anywhere near as well as that. It takes a lot more finesse. You also notice that maybe I have my wing, or not my winglets, but my, what do you want to call those things? The stabilizing fins, ventral fins installed. Finally got around to doing it. Hovering real quick. Pretty cool, huh? Check the battery level.
22.6 volts.
Cool. This jet is so powerful. It's one of the reasons why I take that motor and ESC combo and put it in every airframe I can, because it automatically tends to reduce the amount of wing loading that the plane is experiencing, and it gets a much more effective thrust to weight ratio too as a result. Say that again, get a little lower. Go from right to left this time. I like the setup with Tony being in the distance there. So, you know, we're gonna use my audio that I'm working with. I could have put the chest cam on, but it's hot out here, guys. All right, we already have to get ready to land here pretty soon. We have a wind gust that is popping up from where I was going to land, so we'll just kind of work with it for a few. Do a quick high-speed pass, show you guys how fast this airframe is. It's about 120 stock, I'd say. Makes amazing rolls. But yeah, the major difference between these two planes really is price point, and as it comes down to it, controllability and handleability. This plane tolerates stalling much better than the Viper 70 does. They both drop a wing, but the 90 drops a wing less severely than the 70 does. If you watch the maiden video of the 70, you'll see the wing dropping and the plane goes completely vertical, wings up. It's scary if you don't know why it's doing that, but it's an accelerated stall, which I've told you guys can happen at any airspeed. All right, got a nice descent here. Coming into the wind.
volts. Thrust reverse. Engine flaps up.
This is the premier jet you can get from Horizon Hobby in their E-flite line. There is nothing better than this jet that I've flown personally. All right, guys, we're back. Turn my hat cam on so you can hear me talking now. I got the Viper 70 from E-flite here. Got this on promo credit from Hangar 18 Hobbies in beautiful Cary, North Carolina. This is an amazing little jet. However, it does not stack up to the 90, and I will tell you why, but after we take it up in the air first. I'm also flying this on the, what do you want to call that? The 5280 RC afterburner system from Larry, who runs 5280rc.com. You need to check them out. Get this big bird up in the air. Well, more of a little bird, but still a bird nonetheless. Afterburner in full glory. A little bit of a wing stall, bringing her up. Get the callouts going.
23.24 volts.
Take it right into knife edge like we did with the Viper 90. It's actually easier to knife edge this plane than it is the 90. Like, I'm literally just holding rudder right now, no input at all. And I let go of it, and you see how the plane banked down.
30 seconds.
There are some planes, or some things rather, this plane does really well. One of those is high energy aerobatics. Can't talk. It's very hot out here. It's hard to believe this is April. High energy aerobatics are very easy to do with this plane.
24.1.
It looks awesome when you do them. Let's say, like, I want to take it up, I want to flip it around like I did with the Viper 70 or Viper 90. It's very easy to get confused. I'll just say Big Viper. It has less inertia than the Big Viper does, but some of those moves like I just did there come out better. However, it's more prone to accelerated stalling. Watch what happens when I pull the stick all the way back and do nothing else. Pull back, see how it's rolling? That's an accelerated stall. Now I'm trying to get out of it right now. There we go. Gotta get that airflow over the wings. You will exceed the wing's critical angle of attack very easily on this plane if you have as many throws as I have. However, it's a lightweight, easy to fly plane, very fun. It's a 6-cell 4000 Smart Pack 50C. Hopefully you'll be able to hear some of this through me babbling nonstop. Let's get in for a low level, high alpha, or just a low level knife edge pass. Wasn't sure where it was gonna go. Very easy to snap and tumble around though, even with the afterburner system and the free wing 90mm F18 exhaust tube. Let's do the knife edge again, get the rudder input going. There we go. Nice slow roll to come out of it. You can do snap rolls with this thing too. Doesn't snap as much as it stalls. There's holding the elevator back, there's the wing stall, it starts dropping. Just gotta let it fly. Let's do a quick touch and go to show you guys the differences between how these two birds land.
22.29 volts.
You're gonna notice immediately it doesn't slow down anywhere near as well as the 90 does. Full flaps coming out. Coming in, gonna get ready to flare. Like I'm hauling butt down this runway. Here we go.
Flaps up.
Do that again. Gear up. I have to turn and follow the plane, and in that case I kind of turned a little too slow and didn't realize where it was going to go. It's nearly indestructible though, as long as you don't bust up the nose. If you hit those gear, I mean, they're actually really robust. But then again, they're also just chicken wire too. Okay,
Flaps full.
flaps going to come out early this time. Normally I don't pull them out early, but I need to slow this jet. There we go. Now with a shallower descent, we might be able to get this on the second attempt here. Second attempt it is. A little bit of throttle. Okay, we're gonna just let it sink. A lot more thinking goes into flying this jet. Don't even pull the elevator back, because if I had pulled it, it would have spiraled into the ground.
21.61 volts.
Okay, so we gotta get ready to land it already. Let's do a wheels up pass. So we'll put the gear out. This is one of my favorite moves. I learned it from watching Tony fly in the Blue Angels when they do their dirty inverted pass. And I've seen him do it with my jets too, and it looks amazing when it's done right. There we go. Get her a little lower. Yeah, another major difference between these two jets
22.68 volts. Gear up.
is that the Viper 70 has a lot less weight a lot less. It weighs like half as much as the Viper 90 does. It also has smaller, stubbier wings in comparison. It's the same airfoil shape from what I can tell, and the control surfaces are also smaller on this plane. They're much bigger on the Viper 90, even proportionally. If you were to scale the Viper 70 up to the Viper 90's scale, you would see that the Viper 90 has bigger control surfaces. And they're also hinged better too. They use actual hinge systems like a full-scale airplane rather than
22.73 volts.
the foam hinges this plane's got. Get away from that. There we go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and cut here. You can see how long of a landing rollout you need. You almost need reverse thrust on this plane to get it to stop.
Flaps up.
It doesn't even have, what's that word I'm looking for? It doesn't even have those, the bushings in there. I can't remember what they're called. The things that make it spin easily on the ground. Bearings, thank you, bearings. All right, we'll come back here in a little bit. Do the alpha comparison on the Viper versus 70. There really is no comparison. Only the Viper can do it between them that I've reliably been able to pull off.
Flaps gear.
If you've seen that short video that I put up recently, you'll notice that the grass at this airport is becoming very tall. Somebody needs to come and mow it before I come out here with some weed killer and clear the sides of the taxiway out. Very, very light, calm wind, although the plane is getting, I'm like hands off and it's getting kind of jostled just a little bit by what you would, in airline parlance, I think you would call that like light turbulence. It's not calm, but it's not quite no turbulence either. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing I always do in my Viper tutorial videos. We're just gonna pick up, pull the enable alpha switch, pull back, add throttle. You might notice that the vertical stabilizer fins are installed, so it does kind of change the way the plane flies in alpha.
1 minute.
Use a lot of rudder to turn it.
Wing normal.
Going around, a little too far away. Got to start a little further out. When you get off flying in the F-18 a second ago, you kind of forget what you need to do. It's a very precise set of moves that have to be done to make this thing fly in alpha the way it does.
Alpha.
Pull the stick back, start throttling out. There we go. Wing rock should stabilize pretty quick.
Roll stabilizer full. Roll
Yeah,
stabilizer
we're
normal.
almost post-stall right now, but we're not quite. Full left rudder.
Wing normal.
On a 5,000
2.6 volts.
50C pack, by the way. That was a kind of a not the best take I've done. Still kind of feeling it out. We're going to do it from right to left this time, actually. I think we can get it better because there's a little bit of a tailwind and it just doesn't want to do it in a tailwind, I don't think. It's a very light wind, but I think every little bit counts when this plane's flying the way it is. Okay, we're going ahead and level out the wings.
Alpha.
Here we go. In the alpha mode. There we go.
22.6 volts.
Using some left rudder to get it to go straight down this taxiway.
Wing normal.
Whew, almost lost it. It's a little weird feeling today. Sometimes it's just a little turbulent or
2 volts.
something isn't quite right. Maybe the moon's not in the right phase. I don't know.
Gear down. Crow ailerons.
Getting crow, we're gonna bring it down. Use a ton of your power up on those alpha passes.
Flaps full.
Coming in with full flaps. We're just gonna trade altitude for airspeed here until we start to level out and pull the stick back a little bit. As we pull the stick back, start adding some throttle so we don't slam into the ground.
Thrust reverse.
There we go. Hey guys, we're back. We're gonna go for another alpha test. Maybe this time we can get it right. Here we go. Half throttle takeoff.
Flap gear up. 4 minutes.
That thing roars when you give it full throttle, especially when you point the exhaust all the way at the ground in a full throttle climb. All the echo it makes is quite impressive.
24.1 volts.
All right.
24.2 volts.
Let's get her into an alpha pass now that the winds have basically become dead calm. Stalling, stalling.
Alpha.
There we go. This is looking more, well, it was looking more like it. There we go. Using some left rudder to compensate.
22.7 volts. Wing normal.
I'm gonna get lower than that. I just kicked a bush that had really sharp spines. That didn't feel good at all. I'm gonna watch where I'm walking out here now that we're in spring and the crappy weeds and stuff are growing back out here.
5 minutes.
Yuck.
23.5 volts.
Plenty of power left. It's at half throttle, quarter throttle actually almost. This plane is so powerful, you don't even need full throttle a lot of the time. Okay, let's level her out.
Alpha.
I'm gonna let it elevator down. And we have to add a little bit of throttle so the nose stays up, otherwise it starts to dip uncontrollably. Right rudder to get it pointed at me. Left rudder, left rudder. There we go.
Wing normal.
Let's make her do rolling Harriers next, because, you know, that's another thing that the 70 can't do really well, if at all. Isn't that crazy?
6 minutes.
An incredibly powerful motor system in this jet. Let's do another alpha pass, showing that we still have plenty of power to work with. Oof, my heart is racing, man. This is the kind of stuff I live for in this channel, to show you guys what these jets and what these models can really do. They don't just have to go in circles, guys. They can go in circles in other ways too, like high alpha circles right above the ground. A little bit of ingenuity, you can make these things do almost anything.
22.6 volts.
Tried to stall at the end, get above that radio tower over there. Oof, all right.
22.6 volts.
Hands are a little too jittery to do any cool stuff with the 4-point rolls. Still getting that adrenaline through my system there. These high alpha passes, I feel, are some of the hardest things to do in this jet.
Set crow ailerons. Flaps full.
Flaps coming in. Level the wings out so we don't stall one pulling too hard. There we go. Coming in with pretty much, it's almost dead calm out here. It feels great.
Thrust reverse. 22.3 volts.
And we're gonna show some more differences between the Viper 70 and the Viper 90. Again, key differences between these two jets is that the Viper 70 is significantly cheaper. The price point for one Viper 70 is like two Viper 70s to one Viper 90. That's how cheap they are. However, the Viper 70 is much easier to repair. It's much cheaper to repair, and it's easier to get into if you fly it stock. If you fly it the way I do, where you modified it, well, it still flies pretty similar to the stock config. It still drops a wing, but we're gonna use full span flaps for takeoff. Watch it just lift right up gently. Look how graceful that is. Now it has a lot of power, right? But it likes to stall, as you see there.
20 seconds.
It's a jet that is a beginner's jet in price point alone. The stall tendency of this jet is very severe. You can easily put this thing into a stall that is unrecoverable and then find yourself unable to get out of it, and then you've lost your model and you got to fix it. I tried the alpha comparison because I doubt this is going to do much. Same technique, pulling it back. Yeah, I'm already flipped over. It won't do it. Even with the mods that I've done, the wing or something about it is different and just doesn't want to do it. Maybe the ailerons need to move up more, maybe they need to move up less. Who knows? Oh, see that stall as I was pulling out gently? That wasn't me, that was the jet. I was barely pulling the elevator on that too. So this is one of those jets, again, the biggest price point difference and the biggest difference in handling is that not price point, but the difference because, oh God, I can't talk. The difference in handling between these two jets is that the Viper 70 is more stall prone, therefore is much more difficult to fly. The Viper 90 being a bigger jet and having a better designed airframe in general doesn't have as much of an issue with stalling. It does stall and it has a similar stall, but it's not as violent as the Viper 70 is. However, that 5280 RC afterburner looks amazing in it. So be sure you guys give some love to Larry at 5280rc.com and check his stuff out, because he has some of the cheapest afterburners you can get. And honestly, I would have bought them if I wasn't sponsored by him, just because of how cheap they are and how good they look. It's objectively hard to argue with them and how good they are.
Normal. Gear down.
Now, see, I will only take off with this jet in full span. I will not land with it because it's basically uncontrollable for landing. But for regular landing, it's just not too bad. It's so far out though that it's kind of hard to bring it in for a touch and go. This thing does not want to slow down in the air. It's kind of a little hot rod, which is another thing that's not really beginners friendly about this jet, is that it's very difficult to slow down. This is full flaps right now, or full recommended flaps anyway, and it's not slowing down. Got a quick touch and go, but that's about all you can do in that regard. Like, you can just try to modulate your descent, and you can probably give it more flaps, but that would just aggravate the stall response, I think. I wouldn't personally recommend it. Now, it does do some other cool stuff. I mean, like, again, it does a pretty interesting looking inverted flat spin kind of. Well, not really a flat spin, but it does a spin for sure. See how Tony's moving out of the way here, giving me some taxiway to work with. Check our landing.
22.32 volts.
So we got to get ready to land here soon. I don't even know why I said check our landing. I just have so many thoughts going through my head that I tend to say the first thing that comes to mind, and I need to stop doing that. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the two jets, if I had to pick one, only one, I would go with the Viper 90, because it's clearly superior design in every way. The hinges are better, the handling characteristics are better, the overall appearance is better. It's just a better jet. It is, however, you know, consummate to that being better, the price point is significantly higher. Again, you can get two Viper 70s for the price of one Viper 90. And price, like, the parts seem to be a little easier to get for it too, if that's a consideration you're worried about. So it's, again, harder to land by a factor of like 5, because you have to really get far out there to get it down. It's also a lighter airframe. You don't really need as much throttle to make it do stuff. However, I prefer the Viper 90 for its ease of handling, the crazy, just outlandish stuff I can make it do. Rolling Harriers too. Like, I wouldn't even try it with it. Actually, let me try it with this jet real quick. Let's get it up in front of those clouds in the distance, give it the same moves. That's not a rolling Harrier. It looks bad. Okay, we're gonna just throttle off, try to make another approach. See how much more work it takes to get down. It won't even slow down. So I gotta go all the way back out and do my approach all over again. That's another thing to be concerned with on this jet, because you really have to have a big area to bring it down, or you gotta get really good at dropping like full flaps and then timing a perfect flare so that you don't asymmetric stall and cause the plane to roll into the ground. So about this far out is probably pretty good. Check our losses.
42 losses.
Okay, 42 losses in about 4 minutes isn't bad. Okay, now we're just gonna be throttle off the whole way, because it's so aerodynamically like perfect. It just kind of cuts through the wind. It's just going and going. Look at it go. I'd say it's flying at about 40 miles an hour right now, maybe 50. I was able to flare it to get it down, but man, it just doesn't want to slow down. I could probably give it even more flap, but again, like I said, you got to get used to like being Johnny on the spot with throttle and everything else to get it to not overshoot. So we'll call it quits here, come back with a Viper 90, and we'll show you some more differences. So you guys can see that I choose the Viper 90. I just think it looks better. It's got a more solid flight profile. It just does everything you pretty much want it to do. There's very little this jet doesn't do, from alphas to all sorts of other techniques. Let me put the gear up without putting them up real quick and see if I can try maybe a quick inverted alpha pass too, with those ailerons washing out, and see what that does. And then we'll go back and do some more fun stuff with this jet. Here's we go. Half throttle takeoff, staying away from the grass on this time.
Flaps up, gear up.
A little bit of a stall there as it pulled out, but that looked cool. This jet has all of the vertical capability, man. That 90mm FMS / Spectrum 1950 kV motor is incredible. So much power. All right, let's flip her upside down.
30 seconds. Alpha. Wing normal.
Nope. One more time. See if that wasn't just a fluke of aerodynamics, perhaps. Do it from this side.
Alpha. Wing
Nope.
normal.
So I don't think this jet can do inverted alpha the way I've been doing it with upright. Which is sad, but some, you know, the F-22 doesn't do upright alpha very well either. So every jet's got its sweet spot. Some of them do better upright, some of them do better inverted.
1 minute.
Bringing her in.
Alpha.
No throttle. Now adding throttle. Modulating our sync rate. A little bit of a crosswind, so the plane is automatically starting to windmill into that direction. It's elevatoring down right now, or lifting down, as you Brits would say. Just about lost it. Shouldn't have let it turn the way I did. We're going to do a little further alpha pass this time, a little bit further out. Before we do that, let's put it into another rolling Harrier. My fingers are getting sticky and not catching on. Thing does almost anything you want it to do. It's crazy how powerful this thing is. Let's get our alpha pass started further away so we can get a lower to the ground at a further away distance here. Tony, you want to go to the side there?
Alpha.
You got a couple minutes, or a couple, maybe 20 seconds before it gets here. All right, so Tony's crossing the taxiway right now. That way I know where he's at. That way I can always ditch to the right rather than the left. Modulating throttle.
Wing normal.
Incredible machine. The way this thing is set up is just off the chain. I love it. You guys really need to follow my setup guide if you want to pull this off. It's not that hard to do. You just got to get
22.2 volts.
You got to get good at judging when to hit the throttle and when not to. I've put up enough tutorial content on how to do this. You guys should have no problem with it. But if you do need help, you know, just show me a video of what you're doing and I'll give you some techniques and some tips that work for me. Or you can just watch my videos of the stick movement.
3 minutes.
It's too hot out for me to want to put my stick cam on. I'm gonna do one more alpha pass. Whoop. Sometimes the stall is there. Again, it's not as severe as the 70, and the fact that this can do it at all is pretty remarkable.
22.7 volts.
Using about 25% throttle to modulate our descent, left rudder to stabilize. We're doing good. Still holding full back elevator, so the crow mix pops out. So hit that plane out there.
Wing normal. Flight pack 21.3 volts.
Let's turn on the ailerons real quick to see the roll rate.
Ailerons.
Not much of a difference, really. Anyway, just like to do that sometimes.
Crow 8 gear down.
Crow is turned on, gear out, check our voltage.
22.2 volts.
So again, comparing these two jets, this is the clear winner in every way that's possible to be a winner. The Viper 70 is a great trainer jet, and this is not a trainer jet. It's too expensive and too easy to stall to be a trainer jet, in my opinion. Both of them I don't really consider to be trainer jets. That's why I say trainer in name only, really, or in price point. Oh, I didn't even turn my flaps on. That would have helped. Sitting there talking and running my mouth.
Gear up.
I was wondering why I was coming in so fast. Anyway, so to really give you an idea of why I like this so much, let's watch this landing here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. This will be where I bite the dust, just because I'm over talking it. All right, so this time throw the flaps out. Okay, as we are banking around this final leg here on approach, we're gonna level the wings.
Flaps full.
Drop the flaps, there we go, coming in. Almost perfectly calm wind right now. This is amazing weather. It's hot as all get out though. Glad I put sunscreen on. Now we got the flaps out. Look how stable it comes in.
22.4 volts.
And with reverse thrust, See how it immediately pushes to the left with that torque that the motor produces? Otherwise, this is the clear winner. If you're not getting yourself one of these, you're missing out. E-flite, Viper 90mm. Pick one up. Trust me, you won't regret it.